guys both made big differences in last month's bout. Here we have Stevie Nixer versus Senora Slaughter, and I'm going to start the countdown until Nixer does something crazy and spectacular at 5 minutes.
That's right. You see that out there, in case you're new to roller derby, the skaters with the stars on their helmets are called the jammers, and they're the ones who can score points for their teams. All the other skaters on the track are blockers.
A heck of a play out there by the Rider Tendency. Senora Slaughter looked good, but you have your lead jammer, Stevie Nixer.
Lead jammer means that she has completed her first pass successfully and before the opposing jammer, and she can call off the jam at any time by placing her hands on her hips, or until 2 minutes is up.
Well, it wasn't that crazy, but it was only 25 seconds until Stevie Nixer's first apex jump. Expect many more of those tonight, much bigger. Here's another.
Stevie Nixer hates track boundaries. She's not a fan of them. So she called off the jam by putting her hands on her hips. That's a great start for the Wicked Pissahs. A 6-0 jam to start. And you earn those points how, Xander Montezola?
You earn them essentially by lapping opposing skaters. So your first time through the pack, you do not earn any points. You just earn status. It's like climbing the social ladder. The second time through the pack, that is when you're scoring. You will score 1 point for each opponent that you pass, and 0 points for each of your teammates. Here we have Whammy versus Chicana. You'll see this matchup a lot tonight.
Chicana, we saw her for her first time. She's from New Hampshire, transferred over here recently, and we saw her for her first time last month. She had a very successful bout, but you know what? Womanimal was not skating against her. Womanimal, the jammer for the Nutcrackers.
And Whammy coming back from an injury. Whammy coming back from an injury that kept her out of the regional tournament or the divisional tournament this year for the Boston Massacre.
You see 1 point was picked up by both teams there. You'll see that there's a jammer, a referee following around each team's jammer. They're called a jam rat, and they award points to that team's jammer.
And here we have again 2 new additions. This looks like Hard Times versus Sweet Enemy.
Sweet Enemy, a transfer from Australia. Can't say we have too many Australian transfers coming around here, other than, of course, her enemy on the other team, Macarena.
And we have lead jammer again for the Nutcrackers. This is Hard Times.
Sweet Enemy got out as well. Hard Times with a quarter track lead, so we're going to try and pick up some points here. And she calls off the jam. And 2 points there for the Nutcrackers, who are bouncing back after that 6-0 jam.
And here we have our first penalty of the game. Truant, with the hand raise of shame here, is on her way to the penalty box. Truant was called off for a cutting the track penalty, and that is pretty self-explanatory. You cannot go out of bounds and then come back in bounds in front of someone who was in front of you when you went out. Essentially, you can't do something that would make the game silly and stupid, so of course you can't cut the track.
That's an excellent point. Stupid things need to be called a penalty. Got Hattie Glider going up against Rock. Rock missed last month's bout for a very important event, but she is back today, and we call her Pizza Rock, and you know why.
And Rock, this is Rock's 12th consecutive lead jammer, dating all the way back to her last bout. She got lead jammer every single jam in the last bout she played in October.
That's right, she was dominant. She was the MVP jammer picked by her opponent, and she calls off the jam there. And keep in mind, Rock got 11 lead jammers against the Arkham Horror when they played in October, which is no small feat.
Many people would say the Arkham Horrors are the favorites to win the Fez Cup this year. They are the defending champs. Despite having 2 losses, they are rounding into form very nicely.
But others would definitely say the Cosmos are, so we're going to say that one's a wash.
Here we have Senora Slaughter versus Chicana again. Chicana almost unstoppable last month in the first half against the Horrors. Slowed down a little in the second half, but they couldn't do anything against her in the first half.
So when you watch Senora Slaughter skate, the most remarkable part of her game is her feet. They just move, and they never stop moving for 2 minutes. If she has to go the full 2 minutes, they're going to keep going, promise.
And you can see Senora Slaughter catching him sleeping a little bit, because that's Stevie Nixer up front. Oh, Nixer is tough.
Whoa. Thought for sure she was going to have the move there, but she got around Senora Slaughter. Nice job.
And you can see Chicana has now escaped.
Nutcrackers defense really locked down there. Chicana. Senora Slaughter. Oh, coming through on another scoring pass there was Senora Slaughter. A little accidental contact there at the end. Everybody looks like they're okay. Another point for Slaughter and the Nutcrackers.
And you can see Dottie Danger setting up that point with a great block on Stevie Nixer. Made it nice and easy on Senora Slaughter.
Senor Rogers, Justin. The challenge was for a late hit on the black jammer to Senora Slaughter there. If she clearly initiated contact, like clearly after the fourth whistle, and she couldn't do anything about it, they may have issued a penalty there, but there was no penalty given.
And you don't see those get very called unless it's really egregious. It's tough to stop yourself right after that fourth whistle. Look at this defense by the Pissahs at the back of the pack.
Well, the Nutcrackers had a wall at the front too, but they had only 3 blockers, so it was a little bit easier for Sweetie to push them out.
Ooh, is that Truin laying that boom? Look at her. Truin, not afraid of anybody, plays with huge balls. Great clear by Smackarena.
You see Whammy is through. You see her jam rack waving. She's not the lead jammer. But the Pissahs have hauled it off. That was a 3-0 jam for the Pissahs. So even the timeout did not get a penalty for them. Got them maybe the rest they needed to earn a few points.
So far we have 3 lead jammers from Nutcrackers, 3 lead jammers for the Pissahs, and no jammer penalties. Looks like the Pissahs are just doing a little better job taking advantage of their lead.
Yeah, the second most important statistic in roller derby is lead jammer status. The first is points. After that, lead jammer status. And usually you can tell how a team is playing by how much lead jammer they're getting. Whoa, Rock did not get lead, folks. The streak is broken. Thanks to hard times.
That is hard times. Right through. Rock didn't take Rock long to get out, but hard times was out so quick.
Nice play. Hard time getting 1 point there as Dottie Danger had picked off Paula Fierce at the back. And the jam was called off shortly thereafter.
And here we have Stevie Nixer versus Senora Slaughter again. Slaughter getting a lot of work. This has got to be her 3rd jam out of the first 8. Got Miss Mary Smack out there, and I believe her 9th year of roller derby.
Trying for the inside line there was Stevie Nixon, met by Aubrey, or just planets collide there. And Senora Slaughter having some success here, getting around the outside. The lead jammer.
But Nixon not having too much trouble. Out close behind. Oh, is that? Yeah, that is planets collide.
Yeah, look at bombs. Look at the action at the back of the pack there, catching a blocker. Whoa! Almost sneaking in with Stevie Nixer, but calling out just in time. Very nicely done by the Nutcrackers to earn 1 point. They've gotten lead jammer on the last 2 jams, but only 2 points combined on those jams.
And that's gigantic for the Pissahs to be holding to 1 point when the opposing team has a lead jammer. It's critical if you don't get lead jammer to have your jammer out close behind. It's when you get trapped and when you're just dead in the pack that these big jams can open up on you.
Chicana going up against Warm Animal right here. Chicana trying on the inside there. She's got like reckless rehab at the front. Oh, around the outside! Nice play by Chicana.
And Chicana using a little sort of through the middle of the pack strength there. Last month she was just using her screens from her teammates and going right by, showing all of her tools.
Oh, Warm Animal pulling out the power hits right there to get herself through the pack. But again, Chicana, lead jammer, calling it off into more points. So those 2 points that were given up by the Pissahs, the 2 prior jams, just earned them back.
And you can see Chicana go down at the end of that jam. She did not trip. That was intentional for her to go back down before she came onto the track, and that was because reckless rehab.
Wow, Captain Skid has pointed out to us that there's only 3 penalties, so I really like the derby we're seeing. We got 2 teams very tightly matched, very closely matched, and playing clean roller derby out there.
And yet, interestingly, the jammers still doing well to get out with these very full packs. It's usually hard on these jammers in 4-on-4s.
We got
They're doing a great job.
We got our two new BDD skaters out there. Again, Sweetie from Australia. But Hard Times coming out with your lead jammer status for the Nutcrackers. That's what they need to close the gap here. Hard Times up to the front. Oh, Rock! Oh, you can't just sneak by Rock on the outside line. That's what Rock said, but still 3 points picked up by Hard Times.
Hard Times looking very good so far. High impact player.
So some teams will choose to just play their jammers as jammers. They typically would just see Senora Slaughter's jammer. We've seen Stevie Nixer both as a jammer and a blocker. The same thing with Rock as well for the Pissahs.
And that's very wicked Pissah-like. The Pissahs tend to play a very deep jammer rotation. They have for quite some time. Ever since sort of their dynasty ended, they've been going deep into the well. 8, sometimes 9 jammers deep.
Some aggressive work in the back there by Moxie Moonwalk from the Nutcrackers. But lead jammer earned by the wicked Pissahs, Stevie Nixer.
And that's a big run back on Slaughter because Nixer is now going to pick up her points.
That's right, you see the Pistons, they ran back Senora Slaughter. She had to go back to avoid getting track. Oh, what a play by Stevie Nixer. Picking up her inside skate to avoid a track cut right there.
And you can see that's the second time that Senora Slaughter has taken off the star on her head. So, jammers are allowed to take that star off on their head. They just can't score points when it's off. And not only can they take it off, but they can pass it to the pivot on their team, who is that player with the stripe on her head. Once it's passed, that player then becomes the jammer. So you can essentially transfer your status. If you're having a hard time in the pack on your first pass, you oftentimes want to take that star off. Even if you're not going to pass, it confuses the opposing team.
All right, we got a new jam happening out here. We got Wolf Animal going against Truant. Truant really improved her skating throughout this season. Oh, looking at going inside, outside there, taking big hits. Well, we've got our first jammer penalty of the night going to Wolf Animal, and that was a track cut.
It's hard to see from this side of the track.
So she's going to sit for 30 seconds. There's a 30-second power jam for the Wicked Pissahs. Big chance to extend their lead.
And how a team performs during these power jams oftentimes dictates how well they will do in a bout.
So we got some offensive play going on right now. All offense by the Wicked Pissahs, and they got Truant out on a scoring pass. She earned 5 points. That's 4 for the Nutcracker blockers and 1 for the jammer in the penalty box.
And it was a nice work there by the Nutcrackers. Mandolin Slicer had Truant, just couldn't quite finish the block.
We got 3-on-3 out there, so it's a slightly smaller pack for both teams out there, so there should be some room to maneuver for our jammers. Oh, big move by Truant, a wild boredom. And she's had enough. She's had enough. Followed off the jam, picked up her 4 points, so I think we got 9-0 jam there for the Wicked Pissahs.
Yeah, 35-14. Skip, give me a lead jammer count here. I think this lead jammer is either still even or the Nuts are a little bit ahead. Looks like the Nuts might be ahead 7-5 on lead jammers. Yet down by 21 points. It is a little bit surprising. The Pissahs are doing an excellent job on scoring passes.
Yes, they are. They are keeping the Nuts from scoring points when they are getting out. Here's Hard Times. Oh, Hard Times with the push and then the pull and the shoot to the outside.
And that's
the cut in by Hard Times. She's got lead jammer. What action on turn 2.
And so quick to get back up. Doesn't get herself resucked into the pack. What a play by Hard Times.
I think she was engaging with what, Sweetie there? That's really heads-up play by Chicana. Underrated play. Chicana went out of bounds, but so did the blocker who took her out. She went right back in. But that's 4-0 jam for Hard Times and the Nutcrackers.
Getting a little momentum. 17 points truly is nothing in a roller derby bout. You can easily score 17 in one jam. Many of these skaters have scored 17 points in a jam.
That's why we just saw a 9-0 jam for Truant and the Wicked Pissahs.
You were talking about the similarity in the lead jammer awards there. The Nutcrackers have actually earned lead jammer 8 times to the Pissahs 5. and are still trailing on the points for control of.
Absolutely. That really shows, I think it's really all about the defense there and their ability to get their jammer out very quickly behind the Nutcrackers jammers. But we've got Dottie Danger Goose in her final game here.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Rumor has it she won't be playing anymore. So she got out first, but she's not lead jammer.
She is not. You can see there's that Pretty Pearl waving her hand. Stevie Nixer gets out first. She is lead jammer. Goose was not lead jammer there because she didn't pass every opposing blocker legally. And you might be saying, well, then why isn't she in the penalty box if she didn't pass them legally? It's because of this thing we call a no pass, no penalty. So she goes out of bounds. At the same time, another blocker goes out of bounds, then comes back in front of her. That is considered a non-legal pass, but it's also not a penalty.
It's not illegal, but it's like not legit.
It's decriminalized. It's
Definitely
decriminalized.
decriminalized penalty. I like that.
Yeah, it's like under an ounce of, what have you.
A back block called there on one animal. It wasn't a big one. You didn't see anybody really fall down, but they deemed most likely that she pushed the blocker out and then took advantage of that space.
And it looks like a good call. It looks like Whammy pushed straight through. Planets is doing some work here. Oh, romantic play by Planets Collide.
And that's two friends in the offseason, but not right now. They're playing it again, once again, meeting Rock at the front. Rock got their lead jammer status, but nice defense by the Nutcrackers.
And that's what's so hard about Rock. You can see that Bel-Air Bomber had Rock lined up, hit her perfectly, but Rock didn't move. She's just too strong.
Oh, outside, inside move by Rock. Left the inside line open there.
And here we go, Whammy back into play.
Whammy does have a couple of jammer penalties here, so that may affect her style out there, but let's see what she does. No, it's Whammy. She's hardcore, man.
I don't think so. I don't think Whammy ever slows down. Not really in her playbook.
Oh, Rock, keep it inbounds. Planet is like, are you serious, pizza?
Planets can just shake her head and appreciate the effort by Rock.
All right, I think everybody heard that, Planet. All right, we've got Hattie Collider out there jamming for the Nuts, going up against Sweetie. And we've got two former Australian, league mates out on the track. M80, Macarena, going up and against Sweetie for the Nutcrackers, for the Pissahs.
And you wouldn't think it, but a lead jammer for the Nutcrackers.
Once again, though, we've got a Nutcrackers lead jammer status. They got someone, a Pissah hot on her heels. Oh, there's Sweetie taking control of that situation.
And with no one in the penalty box, you can see this one will be ended early. So we talked about these Australian imports, Kev. You wouldn't think it, but roller derby actually incredibly popular in Australia. Dozens upon dozens of leagues in Sydney and Melbourne, etc., etc. One of the best teams, one of the best countries in the world at roller derby is Australia. It's sort of the US, Canada, England, Australia, right there in the top four. The Great Southern Slam, which is the big tournament they have there every year, biggest roller derby tournament in the world in Australia. Goose playing with fire, and she gets burned. Goose will be sent off for a track cut.
That's right, there she was taken out of bounds. You can see exactly which Pissahs blocker did it, but they had a nice run back, and Goose, like you said, played with fire.
It was extremely close, but our outside pack ref saw it, called it, done.
All right, but on to the scoring pass here. We've got a power jam once again. I think the third power jam here for the Wicked Pissahs. And taking advantage of it is Stevie Nixer. That's a 5-point pass. Right now, the whole difference in this bout is these power jams.
That's
just
correct.
about.
Oh, Whammy getting great touches on Nixer. Look at the footwork from Whammy.
What a takeout by Whammy there. And they run her back to the back, and they've reformed their wall nicely. Good work by the Nutcrackers on penalty kill.
Whammy, a true rookie, not a red shirt. It's really, what a performance by our Goose. The classic Goose dive around the edge. Oh, Whammy! Just stops Nixer cold.
All right, so there was an additional point awarded for the Pissahs there. So We've got a 55-18 game. The score definitely a little misleading though, because like we said, the Nutcrackers I think actually have maybe more lead jammers than the Pissahs, so they just have to keep out of the penalty box.
Looks like it's even now, but the Nutcrackers with 3 jammer penalties. Although I'll say they haven't really been that costly. They probably cost them a dozen, maybe 15 points in point differential.
Here we are, hard times once again. Here it is, Chicana lead jammer for the Pissahs. Estrogina Davis has to let hard times go, but she did slow her down enough to give Chicana a little bit of a lead going into her scoring pass. Chicana goes out of bounds there. Let's see what she picked up. 3 points. So 3-0 jam for, 3-1 jam for the Pissahs. Nice work by the hard times there, picking up that point at the very last second.
And you can see we're getting a little more penalty heavy here. This is relatively common as the skaters get a little more tired, they get sloppy. We can see we have twinsies here with Rock versus Senora Slaughter.
Definitely twins.
I'd like to extend a warm welcome to Erickson to the building.
Oh, and Rock is taking out Slaughter. But guess who's at the front of the pack right now? It is Slaughter. Oh, and Rock. She just pushes her way through. So Rock played for the Boston Massacre this year, and she was used exclusively as a blocker, but maybe they get a push for like jammer next year. Who knows?
And the best part about that Rock hit, she didn't even take advantage of it. She just did it because she wanted to.
Yeah, that was just for fun. Oh. And game's called off there, and we've got maybe a little more track tape issue there, but we'll see if that's, yep, there, just on it right now. Really, we haven't seen any track problems in the last couple of laps, so that just shows you how hard these skaters are skating out there tonight.
Gets humid in here, that track tape comes up real fast.
It's really humid today. Very hot.
Looks like we got Stevie Nixer and Hard Times. We start the countdown at 25 seconds for Nixer. Oh, Estrogina Davis. Oh, what a play by Estrogina Davis. Look at it, Paul Hard Times all the way back.
What? Both jammers here still trying to get through on their first pass. Hard Times approaching the front with speed. And they gotta let her go. Nutcrackers lead jammer.
But again, the Nuts can't get that hold, and you've got Nixer following close behind in this Pissah wall at the front of the pack. The Nuts need these points.
Let's see what Hard Times got right here. Oh, Hard Times sneaking by Estrogina Davis and staying inbounds for a quick 4-0 jam. Now 4-0 jams will do it for the Nuts. They can continually do that for the rest of the game, but they may end up needing some bigger jams to close this gap.
I think they're definitely going to need a power jam or two. They can expect it. It's almost impossible for a team to play clean the entire game for their jammers. So you can expect the Pissahs to go to the box at some point. But the question is, can they send their Nuts to the box at the same time?
Really impressive with our track ninjas here today, doing this while the game is going on.
Yeah, really, putting their life in their hands. Oh, the Pissahs. Pissahs with a great blocking wall there, and really impossible to see whether it's a multiplayer block or not. Oh, a little bad block for the Pissahs, tripping over each other. That will release Heidi Collider. She's the lead jammer.
That's two. Is that 2 in a row there, Skid, for the Nutcrackers? Looks like. That's exactly what they need.
It is. Let's see if they can take advantage. Let's see if the Nutcrackers can get a lap point or two.
They do. They've got a hold on Chicana right now. But she's still trying to work her way out. Moxie, moonwalk. Nice one-on-one block in there. It's J5 by Black. That was a second scoring pass there for Heidi Collider, and she was able to pick up 3 more points. So I think it's an 8-0 jam for the Nuts. Well, we said 4-0 jams weren't going to do it for the Nuts, but 8-0 jams will.
They'll take those all day long. We call, when you pick up that jammer, we call it a lap point. When you lap the jammer, that's when you know a jam is going exceptionally well.
Slaughter going up against Sweet. Sweetie getting a lot of action in her first bout. There's Rock. Rock just loves taking.
My God, Rock.
There we go, Sweetie lead jammer for the Pissahs.
That is some underrated offensive blocking from the Nutcrackers and a real nice cap on the Pissahs blockers.
Really like the move there by Senor Slaughter to get between Rock and Molly O'Fender to get out, but this is a scoring pass for Sweetie, who's calling it off. Let's see, she could pick up 3 points for the Pissahs to switch momentum back at you. Now we've got 6 minutes to go in this half. At halftime, folks, we're going to invite you down to the track. Give preference to the children, but after that, anyone's welcome to take a wheel and try and toss it as close as they can to the middle of the track. We'll have a little spot there. And if your wheel gets closest to the middle of the track, you will earn a gift certificate to Flatbread Pizza Company. There's one in Bedford. I know there's one in Davis Square. There's a whole bunch of them around the area. They've graciously donated it once again for us.
Free to play, so come on down. And the Pissahs out to lead jammer again.
Well, that's just very nice. That's nice work by the Pissahs. They gave up a couple big jams, relatively big jams, and just right back at the nuts. Oh, reckless rehab, taking out Stevie Nixer. But 3 points still picked up by Nixer.
And you can see Nixer's hips spun around Reckless as she got taken out, so she picked up the points for those hips. What a play by Reckless Rehab, but before even that happened, neurotic tendency knocked the Nutcrackers out of rhythm in their wall, made it a little bit easier for her jammer to score.
Don't forget, folks, there is a beer area down at the other end of the track, concession stand. Fesburn's got a full bar for you. Check that out at halftime, as well as the merch tables. But now, we've got roller derby going on, of course. We got Chicana skating up against Hattie Collider.
Hattie was lead jammer last time on the track. See what you can do here. Oh, whammy. What a move by Chicana to get whammy off balance.
Yeah, that's nice work. Both jammers are taken out of bounds already in this jam, but neither one has emerged as lead jammer.
See the nuts real slow at the back of that pack. That's exactly what you want. The Pissahs, same thing at the front. Just not giving any space. What a play. Hattie Collider.
Wow, that was great defense, though, by the Pissahs holding for 30 seconds right there, but even better defense right now for the Nutcrackers. And we've got a star pass that's been completed. So Estrogina Davis right now is the one holding the star. She doesn't have to put it on yet.
Oh, Goose has got her out of bounds. But it looked like Goose may have stepped out of bounds also.
Yes, she did. So Gina was an inactive jammer there. Now she is an active jammer when she gets that star on her helmet.
An active jammer, of course, means you can score points. And you can see the Nutcrackers running this jam.
2 reasons, I think, for that. They got a pivot with the jammer star and they also had Room Animal in the penalty box. Want to kill some time.
And see if Gina picked up any points at the end of that jam. She will pick up 2. That's a 2-2.
That extra pass was 2-2 there, so no extra points by the Nuts in that extra pass. They did run a few seconds off of Room Animal's penalty, and they've called a team timeout. As we are by all of your presences. Presences?
I think that works.
Yeah, your presences is, I don't know. All right,
Why not even say attendance? So here we have Sweetie versus Senora Slaughter. I'll tell you, Kev, the way Sweetie has been playing tonight, it's just going to make it really hard on the Nutcrackers because this Pissahs jam rotation looks deep and it looks strong tonight.
It's very deep. They definitely have a lot of muscle in their rotation, not just speed, but definitely a lot of muscle. So it's going to be hard for the Nuts to come back. But like we said, the Nuts have been getting plenty of lead jammers.
They have. I think what's been huge for the Pissahs is they've been able to leave their primary blockers in that blocking rotation.
You see both jammers taken out there, Justin, and now both had to get recycled to the back here now, working through on their first pass.
Look at the extra effort from Smackarena, but it won't quite do it.
That's right, so Sweetie is through, but she's not really a jammer because she passed an out-of-bounds skater while she was out of bounds.
And they're having slack to working it, getting the job done. See if the Pissahs scored any points in the pass. They did get 1.
So giving up just 1 point there were the Nutcrackers. This is about double their score right now as we are approaching the 2-minute mark in the half.
And the Nutcrackers have trapped Rock in the penalty box. That's very important. She's been such a high impact player tonight as a blocker. It's nice not to have to start against her. Here we go, Goose. I believe this is the first time Goose has started with the star. She had it past her about 6 jams ago.
Maybe I think one time earlier. Is that when she picked up that penalty?
It is.
Maybe you're saying, oh, there's lead jammer for Goose. Goose is an extremely fast skater here.
One of the fastest, was a rink rat growing up.
Oh, Rob trying to assist by throwing Gina into Goose. Goose was having none of it.
I don't know if you guys remember Claire D. Way from way back in the day, but Goose, looking just like Claire, she sneaks along the outside, ducks underneath those blocks.
9-0 jam for Dottie Danger and the Nutcrackers as they close that lead. As we approach maybe what could be the final jam of the half.
It very well could be, in fact.
And just a reminder, at halftime, you are welcome to come on down to the track. We'll bring some wheels over in a crate, and you can grab one and participate in our wheel toss challenge for a gift certificate and a whole lot of fun.
And don't forget to talk to your skater liaisons in the stands. They are wearing those bright green shirts, lime green. If you have any questions, ask them or find one of us announcers during the break.
Both jammers here struggling to get their way through on that first pass.
Slaughter. Oh, she really sinked.
Picked up a trap cut there. Thought she almost was able to stay in bounds, but the call is a trap cut.
Looks like that back left foot just touched our bounce too.
So I believe we have 0 jammer penalties for the Pissahs in the first half, and maybe 4 or 5 for the Nutcrackers.
That is correct. I think that's 4 for the Nutcrackers coming. Oh, Truett's got it. She does.
Wow! The wheel was on the rope, but didn't go over the rope. Incredible.
And she held on both feet there, one then the other. Very challenging to get up on one. And Planets is going to be sent off for a forearm there, but it'll be well worth it. Well worth it to pull her back.
Valuable forearm there by Planets Collide. Maybe saved 4 points for her team.
Yep.
Well, maybe not.
It's hard to tell, but
I think Truman probably would have come around again on another scoring pass. So, hey, folks, we are at halftime.
Stevie Nixer versus Wanny to start the second half.
Is everybody back in their seats? You better hurry up, because this is going to get exciting.
And you have Stevie Nixer as your lead jammer for the Wicked Pissahs, getting off just to the start they want.
Well, Animal getting out as well. About a half a lap lead there for Stevie Nixer. She's throwing her scoring pass here. Getting the instructions from Johnny Cash Machine to call off the jam, and a 3-0 jam to start the second half for the Wicked Pissahs.
Is that Hard Times blocking at the end of that jam? Hard Times, heck of a player, Kevin. Heck of a player. See a future for her here.
So definitely Hard Times, definitely a dual threat as we're seeing out there, can block and can jam. A little important note, we said penalties had a lot to do with the score in the first half, and it sure did. Now, overall, the penalty difference was 11-7 in favor of the Pissahs. They had only 7. But so many of those penalties for the Nutcrackers were for their jammers.
And those are critical. As we have said, Rock getting another stop. You have lead jammer for the Pissahs again. That's Chicano.
So I really like how the Pissahs are mixing up their lines, getting Rock in as a blocker as well as a jammer.
Look at Truman opening the space.
That's a 4-0 jam for the Pissahs, who are steadily increasing their lead. Really makes a big difference. Like I said last month, the Pissahs were playing against the Horrors, and they were actually winning at halftime. In the second half, they lost their legs, but having Rock and having Sweetie added into their lineups today really helping them.
Makes a huge difference. They were actually leading that bout against the Horrors for many more minutes than the Horrors were. The Horrors led the important ones, though, which were the last couple.
Oh, Hard Times, a little hop on the inside line, lead jammer for the Nutcrackers. That's what they need. Nutcrackers really, though, need their defense to slow down the Pissahs.
That is exactly correct, Kevin. The Nutcrackers need a stop, is what they need.
4-0 jam is going to help, though, for the Nuts, and that's just what Hard Times picked up. Nice, efficient 4-0 jam. Problem is, they've got 2 blockers in the penalty box to start this next jam. I have a feeling that Shark Week and Hard Times did not realize that when they called off the jam.
No doubt about that, Kevin. This will be a chore for Senora Slaughter to get out of this pack in a 4-on-2 first, especially up against Stevie Nixer. Nixer's so strong. You can see she's probably going to go center track, move off to a line, and blow right through.
Wow, look at the Pissahs blockers tracking laterally, left to right, getting in front of Slaughter, but nice work by Senora Slaughter. That is very important, getting out of the pack very quickly.
Absolutely critical play by Senora Slaughter. The wheels could have come off here.
Very wisely, 4-0 jam there for the Wicked Pissahs. Slight equipment malfunction, looks like Planet, something fell off her skate or something.
And you can see Whammy in the penalty box here. This is a little bit surprising to me, Kevin, knowing how Whammy plays. I'd be interested to hear what penalties she's picking up. She tends to be kind of a very clean player, a very relaxed player. She's not really dropping big hits that could lead to forearms and elbows and things along those lines.
That's right. The hits were, she picked up a cut, a back block, and a clockwise block in the first half, so I'm not sure what that one was. A little smorgasbord there, so a lot of little different things, but she's playing hard. And when you play hard, sometimes you pick up penalties.
It's true. Play hard, get a little sloppy, and that is going to be a track back. That's Hard Times. Hard Times forces the first Pissahs jammer penalty. Hard Times forcing the track cut against Baby Rock, and that is a huge penalty for the Nutcrackers right when they needed it to give them some momentum.
Wow, especially when Dottie Danger is your jammer. Oh, what a play by Gina and Molly Offender together. Molly hit her out, but you got to give that one to Gina.
It truly is only half the battle to get the jammer in that penalty box. You have to take advantage.
And there's Dottie Danger pretty quickly getting the 5-point pass. This is the first power jam for the Nutcrackers. There goes Dottie Danger plowing into the front. Gina trying to slow her down. Nope. Dottie Danger, that's her 10 points now on this jam.
And Goose almost certainly will have the biggest jam of the night here.
Oh, Molly Offender and Gina. What a blocking team. Give it up for Molly and Gina. 2 huge plays on that jam, but still, the Nutcrackers picked up 11 points. So they are closing that lead, only a 35-point lead. Suddenly, that lead is within range.
And Captain Skid informs us that that was tied with Stevie Nixer for the biggest scoring jam of the night with 11 points for Dottie Danger.
That's the kind of game I love in roller derby. Low scoring is actually more exciting. I know it may not feel that way, but for us it is.
Oh, it feels that way, I think, for everyone out there. You can see how hard these guys are playing. Everything looks really tight. You can tell it's an end-of-season bout. That's a good ball ball. Oh, never mind.
A low block being called, I believe, on Hattie Collider. A low block called. Right back at your power jam. But she kind of's got to get her way through, and she does.
And that's just a very tough break for Hattie Collider. She was on the ground, she had fallen small, but I believe it was Estrogina Davis fell over her. When you have that impact, the referees have to call it.
Tough loss here as Planets collide, being sent to the penalty box. Didn't see the call, but that is a 5-point grand slam for Chicana. Getting those points right back for the Pissahs after that big jam by Dottie. Oh, quick pass there for Chicana.
And the Pissahs textbook power jam offense here, trying to trap someone in the back.
That's nice work. And that Pissahs past that 100-point mark now at 105. No points additionally, though, on that final pass. That's a big stop on that final pass. Could come into play near the end of the bout.
This very well could be one of those bouts that's just a couple of points in the last couple of jams.
We'll see, though. Although if the Pissahs keep getting lead jammer every other like that, the Nuts are not going to be able to close that gap unless they get some power jams.
I will say the Pissahs do look very tough. If they had this lineup last month, they very well might be in the Fest Cup Championship tonight.
Both the Nuts and the Pissahs played well last month, and here is Stevie Nixer getting lead jammer for the Wicked Pissahs. Big pile up around turn 1. Everybody looks okay. Looks like a low block was being called there on Molly Offender.
And that's actually the result of Hexoskeleton laying a big hit. Hexoskeleton with an excellent capping block that actually forced a low block. It was a 2-for-1. Great play.
There's 2 points picked up there by Stevie Nixer and the Wicked Pissahs. So they have a 47-point lead, and we're going to see Hard Times out there try and get the momentum on the Nutcrackers side. Going up against Chicana for the Pissahs.
And you see here, this is the 4-on-2s. They're so tough.
Right.
See what Chicana can do.
You know, we see out there, we see Gina once again clearly blocking very well in pairs. That's right.
That is going to be a clockwise block on Chicana. She had the right idea. She was trying to force hard time back. That's lead jammer.
Oh my goodness. That is a huge situation right now. See, Chicana hasn't even gotten to the penalty box yet, so 30 seconds will start right now.
Oh, hardcore just splits the uprights. Hard times, excuse me. Channeling our homegrown hardcore. Hard times, of course.
Big. This is a big chance right here for the Nutcrackers. They need to get a lot of points here.
Great stop out front by Esther Jean Davis and Rock. Who's looking to create some space.
And a multiplayer block was called, though, on Rock, so that weakens the pack there for the Pissahs as Hard Times up to the front, and she's through! 5 more points for the Nutcrackers!
And if you're a Nutcrackers fan, you got to get up right now because this is a huge what a play by Chicana.
Oh, Chicana! There's a few ankles on the track right now for the Nutcrackers.
Sick, just swooping through, seeing the holes.
You see Hard Times trying to grab the Donkey Kong for a little whip there, and she gets 3 more points. I think that's a 13-point jam for Hard Times and the Nutcrackers. We got just once again back to 35 points. I'd hate to say it, but it's anybody's game. Not quite.
Nutcrackers started this half 39 points behind, so they've only cut it by 4. Pissahs pulling away, Nutcrackers pulling back. Nutcrackers going to have a long extended run here. Can't lose focus.
And they got Rock in the penalty box for the Pissahs. Anytime Rock is in the penalty box, that is a big break for the Nutcrackers.
It looks like it's going to be Truant that gets out to lead jammer.
Every lead jammer status won by the Pissahs right now is humongous. Makes it that much harder for the Nuts to close that lead.
Absolutely, and one,
nice hit by Smackarena, but you know what? I got to give it up for Truant right there, taking the hit, legally falling out of bounds, not getting a cut, and picking up 3 points. That's taking one for the team right there.
And try to watch these wicked Pissahs blockers on the scoring passes. Don't watch the jammer, watch the Pissahs open up space time and time again, making things easy for their jammers to pick up 2, 3, 4 points. That is the game right now.
If you have trouble following the action out there, just kind of pick a blocker and see what she does. Watch one blocker throughout the jam. Might give you a good sense of what a blocker needs to do. And we've got lead jammer for Stevie Nixer.
And the Nutcrackers lose focus a little bit.
What action. Stevie Nixer is doing full speed. She has got the talent. And she just snuck right through on that inside line past Dottie Danger.
Stevie Nixer, another skater with just no fear at all.
Nice play by the Donkey Kong, taking out Stevie Nixer.
10-second play by Donkey Kong there. Probably saved 5-8 points by Donkey Kong.
Absolutely, Slaughter gotten out here. And keep your eye on the pack, see what they do to jockey for position. Calling off the jam, not willing to give up any points here. Kind of like that decision there by the Wicked Pissahs. Don't want to give any hope to the team that you're beating.
Out of 11 jams for Stevie Nixer, she has got lead 9 times.
Wow, I mean, that's definitely the jamming MVP of the bout right now for the Wicked Pissahs.
And not too surprising, Kevin, you had an opportunity to coach Stevie Nixer all year. Did you see improvement throughout the year?
Absolutely. I mean, Stevie Nixer tried out for the travel team last summer when you were coaching as well, and she didn't even make the team. And what maybe a huge mistake. Look at the progress she has made. Unbelievable growth.
Here we have Whammy trying to make something happen for the Nutcrackers. Oh, things are getting very sloppy out there. A lot of falls.
Inside line, but you know, we got a Nutcrackers jammer. That's Whammy at the front, but she's going as Rock. Whammy on Rock. Heavyweight bout up in the front right there. Oh, and we've got Sweetie stuck at the back, so we're going to see a lap point given up right there.
And we have not seen Sweetie stuck yet. It's possible that the Pissahs
Oh my goodness, Whammy through 5 points. Sweetie gets out though on turn 2.
The Nutcrackers just not quite able to finish these tracks. They're holding for 10, 15, 20 seconds, but The Nuts are going to need 30-second, 50-second, minute 20-second holds if they're going to get back in this game.
It's true though, but the Nuts, you know what? Down 41, 7 points in a jam is going to do it for them. So 7-0 jam, but they're going to need a number of those in a row.
They certainly are, or they're going to need to go off for a big one. And if they're going to do that, they're going to need to force a jammer penalty.
That's right. Well, last time I think we saw Chicana, there was a jammer penalty with a clockwise block before the jammer line. Let's see what she and Hard Times do this time.
You can see them matched up, I think 2 or 3 times this half so far.
Chicana pushing to the front. Wow! Down a blocker. The Nutcrackers pick up lead jammer here. That shows you the intensity and the change that Hard Times brings to this team.
And Hard Times with a nifty little spin move on the inside.
Hard Times here on her scoring pass.
Dottie Danger, the Goose, opening up some holes. Oh, that will be 1 point for the Wicked Pissahs.
1 point might be a very key point, though. You know, it comes down to it.
It might. You can see Hard Times looked up just a little bit late. Her jam coach was telling her to run that jam, trust her team to get a stop. But she did. She made the right play, assuming that she hadn't seen her jam coach.
Right, and I don't know if that's really going to backfire. Chicana got to it looked like she was going to get to the front of that pack pretty quickly, so I think that might have backfired against the Nutcrackers had they not called it off.
And Mixer is going to be out to lead again. Mixer having no trouble whatsoever with these Nutcracker packs.
Mixer did very little work there, but it was very subtle work. She made a move to the inside, pulled in the outside blocker, took in the outside line.
She very much actually looked like Chicana looked last game, just looking for those easy outside lines.
Oh, it was a little bit shielded from her jam ref there when she called it off, but 3 points picked up by the Pissahs just in time, keeping the Nutcrackers from scoring any points.
Very surgical work by the Pissahs.
Oh, we're going to see Rock out there. Rock been primarily used as a blocker in the second half. Pissahs digging deep here, seeing a good opportunity to get momentum on their side.
I imagine giving her a breather. Rock made a point to come over to the announcer's table during half to tell us that she is indeed 6'5" on skates. So I suppose I believe her since I don't want her to fight her. It's going to be a track cut on Baby Rock.
That's right.
That is a track cut. Her skate just touched out of bounds.
Just need a wheel, a toe stop, any part of your skate to fully be out of bounds, and that's it. So this is exactly what the Nutcrackers need. Lead jammer with a power jam.
You see Bel Air Bomber trying to open some space.
That move by Bel Air Bomber. Tornado block, hooking her leg in, clearing a little space.
It's about as good as they come, Kevin.
Well done.
And not only just the block, but the way it screwed the Pissahs defense out. The way it took them out of rhythm.
Nutcrackers doing a good job getting themselves in position to play offense. Oh, Rock! Coming out, taking Nuts and moonwalk down. She's working through to the front of the pack.
I don't know how to stop her, Kev.
You know what, guys? If for nothing else, come back next year to watch roller derby to see Rock. Just come back to see Rock and see what she does out there. It's a wonder to behold.
What do you do, Kev? So how do you stop her? You're a coach, explain it to me.
You have to square up your body so that she cannot hit you legally. And the only way that she can hit you is illegally. So then she can't get at you. You gotta keep your back to her, or else she's gonna take you out and you got nothing.
And so what Kevin is referring to is that you can't make contact with an opponent's back. Anything inside what we call their bra straps, you cannot make contact. That is going to be a track cut again on the Wicked Pissahs. This will be a power jam.
Oh my goodness. Down just by 32 right now.
This is the 4th power jam this half for the Nutcrackers. We told you this is what they were going to need to get back in this game.
That's right. The difference is the Nuts have not quite been able to close that lead because of the defense like this from the Wicked Pissahs. But Hard Times gets a 5-point grand slam.
And Kevin, I do think the Nutcrackers, if they had a choice, they would want Hard Times on the track right now for this power jam. It's a very good break.
Hard Times and I'd say Dottie Danger have been the most successful jammers so far for the Nuts in terms of pure statistics out there.
And Dottie Danger is laying some of the nicest offensive blocks that you will ever see tonight.
Love that block on Molly Offender by Dottie Danger. Kept it legal in the right direction. We call that a capping block, keeping Molly Offender from chasing after Hard Times.
And you see Goose, we call Dottie Danger Goose, you see her turn sideways to make herself bigger. She's such a tiny one, she needs to make herself big for those blocks.
Okay, hard times taken out by, taking off the star.
You cannot call that jam off because the star is now off her head.
So for some reason, hard times took off the star, but she's going to complete the star pass now. So Dottie Danger, huge risk by hard times here, might backfire against the Nutcrackers. Let's see what happens.
And we'll see.
So in case you're wondering, hard times was the lead jammer, but when you take your star off on your own, or somebody from your team takes it off, you lose lead jammer status.
And so you lose your ability to end the jam. So neither jammer can end this jam right now.
And Dottie Danger received the star pass, but she is pretty gassed, and she hasn't actually been able to get through on that initial pass, her first pass after receiving the star pass.
But I think you will find that Goose has probably scored all of these points. We're going to see 4 or 5 here put up.
Yeah, we are. There's some points there. So I think it's a net gain for the Nutcrackers, but not the delta that they were looking for from that jam.
Certainly in that game, looks like it's going to be 15-9. 15-9, because she got 5 in that last pass. So 15-9. I mean, it's a good jam. The Nutcrackers probably looking for a 2-pass differential there, looking for a 10-point differential. Nonetheless, 26-point game. 10 minutes left. We've got 6 or 7 jams. This one is going to be tight.
And we got a time.
And Stevie Nixer is a nut the Nutcrackers will need to crack in the next 10 minutes, or they are not going to win this game. Nixer needs to be stopped by the Nuts, because she will be jamming at least 3 or 4 more times.
Interesting formation by the Nuts, putting one blocker right in the middle of the Pissahs wall and setting up a 3 wall. Oh, what a block by Whammy and Hexoskeleton there. But they need Hattie Collider to take advantage here.
Hexoskeleton having a nice little game tonight.
Oh, and that is a penalty, a trail cut on Hattie Collider.
And that is a very big penalty for the Wicked Pissahs. They take advantage of this, they're going to get right back up to that 35-40 point range.
So this game is definitely, even with the big jam, is going to be within reach for the Nuts, but this is going to make it a long reach for the Nuts. See Neurotic flying in there with offensive blocking, maybe take a little high hit right there. Neurotic is tough as nails though, she's just going to stay on the track.
She sure is. That nose is almost certainly bleeding. She is pinching it shut. And the Nutcrackers, a great move putting Stevie Nixer out of bounds. In these situations, what you want to do is get a jammer out of bounds. When a jammer is out of bounds, she has lost her power because she has to come in behind you. You control her. So they're trying to get her out. We call it being dead.
Wow, nice work by... Ooh, all right. Now she's offside.
That's a good roll call by the referees there.
You see Whammy really back when I think that she should have gotten a cut call, but she started off behind Stevie Nixer. Can't get a penalty in that situation.
Very heads-up play by the referees, knowing exactly where the opposing blockers are. And the Nuts have got Nixer very tired. Nuts will be happy, 14-0. I think they'll be okay with that. Could have been worse with Nixer out there.
Definitely could have been. It's back to a 40-point lead right now for the Nutcrackers, and we are under 9 minutes by the time we get to the start of this jam. And that is a tall task for any team to make up against the Wicked Pissahs.
And Stevie Nixer has over a third of the Pissahs' points tonight. 51 out of their 148. Certainly not jamming 1 out of her 3 jams. So she is doing more than her share. This has ever been slapped on the jammer line for the Pissahs. Skid, tell me, is this her first jam tonight? I think it is. This is an example of the Pissahs going very deep into the rotation.
Oh, we got a lead jammer for the Nuts, and Singer Slaughter and Slapped is stuck at the back of the pack. It's definitely an interesting time in the game to try out a new jammer. And Slap, though, has a lot of experience. She played on the Boston travel team this year for the Boston V Party.
Yeah, I wouldn't be worried about Slap at all. She's oh my God, Neurotic.
So Neurotic took out Planets on the callback, and we are going to have the jam called for down. And that was tough timing for that one too, for sure. The Nutcrackers had lead jammer, we're making a good run, but I think they're feeling some confidence here. They're throwing out hard times. But going against Sweetie, who we've seen here again in her first bout in the Boston Derby Dames, a transfer from Australia. That's right, Australia, that other country, continent thing.
Hard times also a transfer, not clear where she's from.
Oceana.
I believe she is by way of Steel City, which is Pittsburgh's roller derby team. I think Olympia, then Steel City, if I'm remembering correctly. If she was trained by Olympia, then she's going to be a tremendous roller skater. Big speed skating community out there in Olympia, Washington.
We've got skaters from all over the country and the world playing in the Boston Derby Dames now. Skaters from Finland. We've got Switzerland represented, Australia represented. Brazil is represented.
I want everyone to watch Rock during this jam. Let's see what kind of impact Rock has on this jam. I imagine it's going to be huge. She's already sprung her jammer from the pack.
That's right, Sweet Enemy with the lead. Jammer here for the Wicked Pissahs. And the lead calling off the jam. Choosing not to run time off the clock there, but getting 2 points.
And she trapped Whammy in the penalty box. Whammy has roughly 13 seconds left in that box. Pretty easy to calculate because that jam was 17 seconds long, and she started in the penalty box.
I would actually venture to guess that maybe Johnny Cash Machine, should Womanimal not have been in the penalty box, may have run that to run a little time off the clock.
I think maybe that makes sense. This is when sort of strategic decisions by the bench managers really come into play. Do you want to run it? Do you want to risk getting your jammer tired and picking up a penalty? How much do you trust your defense, I guess, is really the question at this point in the game.
Trusting a four-wall against Senora Slaughter right here, but she is pushing him forward. Yeah. Oh, she got lead jammer, but we got Chicana right on top of her. And why waste time there? Whammy's out of the penalty box, just call it off. But the next jam is going to start with about 6.5 minutes to go, and they've got 36 points to make up. We've seen larger gaps closed in less time than roller derby.
Absolutely, much less time and much bigger gaps. Again, we sound like a broken record, but the Nutcrackers will need a jammer penalty here, or just a big defensive stop. You need kind of the equivalent of a turnover in football when you're down by about this much with 7 minutes left. You just need something to go real right for you, and you're right back in the game. And you want to move by running.
Oh, you see what happened there? Rock chose to play offense to get her jammer out, and that left the inside line for Whammy, but guess what? It got Sweetie out.
Absolutely. It is so hard to see those holes when you're in the middle of that scrum. It's easy when you're up here standing behind the skaters.
Let's see, Whammy up to the front there against Rock, against Slim Hurton, and she is through!
And I love what the Nutcrackers doing at the back of the pack, controlling the location of the pack. Oh, they just can't quite contain Sweetie.
Sweetie did sneak out, and here's Whammy though already on her scoring pass. There she's through! It's another scoring pass, but we've got so far 8-4 in favor of the Nutcrackers here in this jam.
And the Nutcrackers just running this jam, hoping that Sweetie gets tired, makes a mistake, or they get a good touch. They trust Whammy. Whammy, one of the captains, who again, Whammy, one of the captains of the Boston Massacre next year. Very intense player. She knows she can go to full two.
Hexoskeleton trying to go hold the inside line there, trying to get Sweetie out. Here's Reckless rehab on her, but they cannot hold her. This is a risk the Nutcrackers had to take here.
It's absolutely the right play, Kevin. There's no question they had to run this. Their blockers are about 90% where they need to be.
Now, it's just a risk that they're taking. It's not quite working out for them, but it's still something they had to try to get the points here.
They were very close a couple of times to getting a stop on Sweetie, but they just couldn't quite finish the deal.
So now they're going to call off to keep their delta up a little bit, but only up by 1 point there for the Nutcrackers after all that effort. That was a lot of effort for the Nuts, but you got to give it up for the Pissahs offense right there. All about their offense.
16 and 17 points scored by those two jammers. That's the highest scoring jam for any jammer of the night.
Absolutely, but you know what? The Nutcrackers got only +1 there, and they need +10, 15, 20, that kind of thing.
And you can see that with time running down, you will probably see the Nutcrackers start using timeouts. And look at Senora Slaughter using her size to her advantage as she ducks through a pack.
Yeah, but guess what? Stevie Nixer was out there who took a no pass, no penalty. No big deal.
See if the Pissahs can get set again. You see how set those Pissahs are. What a block on. Oh, it's Scotty Danger doing the job.
So 2-0 jam for Senora Slaughter and the Nuts. I mean, they're happy to get the 2 points, but that's just
And they will
Chip it
start
away
in a
in that
4-on-3.
lead.
They will start in a 4-on-3 this jam. 33-point lead. The Nutcrackers have won the second half so far, just not by enough. Here we go, we have Truant versus Hard Times. Again, the Nutcrackers need to stop in a major way. We are at 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Johnny Pass Machine calling a timeout again, letting almost 30 seconds run off the clock.
In the bout, 33-point lead for the Wicked Pissahs. Nutcrackers throwing out hard times against Truant, trying to get lead jammer status and hold Truant. They do have a slight pack advantage, 4-3 in their favor.
And it will be a full 30-second pack advantage. Hard Times choosing not to move. Oh, look at Truant finding space, almost finding space. Oh, she does. Truant is a big back.
And lead jammer was not awarded to Truant there. It was close, but not quite. And Hard Times got it. Oh, Bella Obama going for broke right there, trying to take out Truant.
I love the play by Bella Obama though. You gotta take a risk right there. You put Truant out of bounds, you might set up a big jam. Oh, Hard Times! Easy times for Hard Times.
What is that play now by Truant? Oh my goodness, just grabbing Mario Fender, using her as a battering ram.
You cannot use a block better than that. You can't set a block better than that. Unbelievable.
That would be the future of roller derby right there. Battering ram style blocking. Love it.
Here we go. Truant is off. Truant has been sent off. That is a back block. Here we go. It's now a 29-point game, and the Nutcrackers will start in a power jam.
And they call timeout here, so they're going to save a little bit of time and ensure the... Alright, so basically, Senor Slaughter and the Nuts just need lead and need a lot of points.
It's got to be right now. There is no time but now.
They're really needing a 20-point jam here. So it says she needs at least 20 points here.
I agree. We're going to need a 20-point differential here for this to be a game. Who's still doing the job? Hard Times again.
Hard time slowing down Slaughter by accident there. We got a wall at the front. That's a tough wall. Gina Rock slapped wall.
Look at the stabilization by Rock.
Oh, Senor Slaughter has found it. She has found it. But that's just 5 points. That's 5 points. She's got to do that a few more times.
And Truant immediately gets the Nuts off balance. She might be out.
Oh, she is not. The Nuts have locked it down suddenly.
Massive recovery by the Nutcrackers. That is going to be ugly.
Oh, Slaughter snuck around Rock right there. All right.
Love what Planets did there. Planets creating points for her team.
Oh, and taking out was Truant. That's 10 points for Slaughter. We said she's got to shoot for, what do we say, about 20 in this jam, and she's going to really make a run at it.
They're going to have to score 20 if they have any shot.
That's 15! That's 15 already for Senor Slaughter. Can you believe it?
And keep your eyes on that clock and keep your eyes on the score. It's going to be big.
15, 16, she's got to be up to 16 or so now, taking it safe here.
But Slaughter is starting to run out of gas. You can see, Kevin told you earlier, Slaughter's feet never stop moving, but they have stopped. They have stopped cold.
Oh, and taken out again was the Pissahs. This 2-minute jam is arduous, and here you go. Sarpass has gone to whammy.
But it is too late.
All right, she's going to try and finish this pass here and pick up these points before the end of the jam.
It's going to be 16, 17, maybe up to 20, 18 points for the Nutcrackers.
All right, so an 18-point jam. So they needed about 20. They got about 20. So it's still possible if you actually do the math there, right? We had 15 points in the bag for Senor Slaughter there. There was definitely time for 2 more passes, which was what she would have needed to make up this kind of a deficit. So it could happen, folks. Who knows?
It very well could be in together for this last jam. And we are stacked. We're going to let you guys just watch this one.
So this is all about lead jammer here. So here's Goose up to the front. Nixer's got the wall in the back she's fighting through. Who's on the outside line? She takes a tumble. Issues up at the front. Nixer's still up. Nixer.
Oh, but it's almost one point hard times. Hard times is done, but Goose's run back also. They were the run back do-si-do. Oh, Goose, so smart. The little one.
Taking was Goose.
Who was that? Was that Sweetie?
Who's going to get lead jammer here?
Everybody wants it. Look at how hard these blockers are working.
Oh, Planets, what a play!
Goose back first, and she had the last block, and she released.
This is the Texas first play. Oh, she released!
But Goose is lead. Johnny's injury, lead jammer, the Nets control, but they are down by 11.
So they need a defensive stop right here. So Nixer's picking up points. Goose is going to be picking up points.
Oh no, the worst luck for the Nutcrackers. Goose blowing up the jammer, that will be it. It will be over. It will be a 14-point game. The Wicked Pissahs have won this game, folks. Give it up for the Wicked Pissahs.